هادئة جدا.
Good afternoon. You're watching the English newscast on Future Television. I'm Yumna Naufal, and these are today's top stories. Saudi ambassador to Lebanon, Ali Awad Asiri, calls on Lebanese leaders to engage in dialogue and elect a president as quickly as possible, reiterating the kingdom's support for the country. Lebanon prepares for its third round of municipal elections in the south, and Nabatieh as well, where a heated battle is expected. And Egyptair sent automated messages signaling smoke on board before plunging into the Mediterranean. The French Aviation Safety Agency says that search teams continue to look for more wreckage. Saudi ambassador to Lebanon, Ali Awad Asiri, is calling on Lebanese leaders to engage in dialogue and salvage Lebanon's through electing a president as quickly as possible, reiterating the kingdom's support to the country. Addressing the Lebanese officials from across the political divide he hosted at his Yerzeh residence, he called on government to take a series of political and security measures that would encourage Arab and foreign tourists to visit the country, something Asiri said would benefit the country's economy. Lebanese-Saudi ties deteriorated in February when the kingdom canceled $4 billion worth of military aid to the Lebanese security forces over a diplomatic row. He stressed that Saudi Arabia was and will continue to be the main backer for national consensus, political and security stability in Lebanon, and to the formula of Muslim-Christian coexistence. A heated battle between three political forces is expected tomorrow at the municipal polls in the southern city of Saida. The battle will be waged between a list headed by Muhammad al-Saudi, who is backed by the Future Movement, Jama'a al-Islamiyya, and Abdul Rahman al-Bizri, a second headed by Bilal Shaban, and who is backed by the popular Nasserite organization, and the third headed by Ali al-Sheikh al-Amar. This is the most heated competition. It's predicted to be between the Future Movement and the popular Nasserite organization. Sunday's municipal elections will take place in the south and Nabatieh. The elections kicked off in Beirut and the Bekaa Valley on May 8th. They were followed by polls in Mount Lebanon on May 15th. The final round of the elections will be held in the north on May 29th. Prime Minister Tamam Salam is scheduled to travel to the Turkish city of Istanbul to attend the Global Humanitarian Summit tomorrow. The Cumhuriyet newspaper said that he will address the case of Syrian refugees, demanding international support to allow the displaced to return to their homeland, and as well as safe regions to ease the burden they pose on Lebanon. He will be accompanied on his trip by Social Affairs Minister Rashid Darbas, as well as Education Minister Alyas Bousab, and a number of economic consultants. Earlier this week, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon caused a stir in Lebanon in wake of a report in which he allegedly suggested naturalizing the Syrian refugees in the country. The cabinet declared unanimously rejecting any attempt to naturalize any refugees. From the story of Syrian refugees, we move to the case of the Egyptian Air Flight. Egypt Air Flight MS-804 sent automated messages signaling smoke on board before plunging into the Mediterranean, according to the French Aviation Safety Agency. This all happening while search teams continue to look for more wreckage. The Airbus A320 carrying 66 people had been flying from Paris to Cairo when it plummeted and turned full circle on Thursday morning before vanishing off radar, with some debris later found in the Mediterranean Sea. An Egypt Air official said the search was focused on finding the bodies of the passengers and the flight recorders, which will stop emitting a signal in a month when the batteries run out. Philip Baum, the editor of Aviation Security International magazine, told the BBC that technical failure could not be ruled out as there was smoke reported in the aircraft lavatory, then smoke in the avionics bay, and over a period of 3 minutes, the aircraft systems completely shut down. Coming up next, weekend at the movies, Russell Crowe, Ryan Gosling walk the red carpet for their new film, Nice Guys. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the 1620 o'clock news on Future Television. Funerals are being held across Baghdad for demonstrators killed by security forces when protests stormed the city's fortified green zone in Iraq. Security forces opened fire on protesters who stormed into Baghdad's heavily fortified green zone and entered at least one government building, drawing calls for revolt from a powerful Shia sheikh. Dozens were wounded in the incident, witnesses said, although the total number of those killed could not be immediately verified. Some security personnel were stabbed, according to a military statement. These thousands of protesters included supporters of religious scholar Muqtada al-Sadr and people from other groups upset with the government's failure to approve anti-graft reforms and provide security. The G7 pledging to clamp down on financial support for terrorist networks with a plan to step up intelligence sharing, freeze assets, and tighten reporting rules on international transfers. The Club of Wealthy Nations has been cooperating to block the financial pipelines that allow terrorists to travel, plan, and carry out attacks, but said that more must be done. The G7 commits to working together to strengthen the global fight against terrorist financing, according to an action plan to be adopted by the group's leaders who meet in Japan next week. French Finance Minister Michel Sapin, whose country suffered devastating attacks in January and November of 2015, said the Group of Seven was now in the operational phase of its efforts. Sapin said that good exchanges between intelligence agencies were vital, especially to fight against large movements of money by, for example, Daesh in Syria or Iraq. Foreign aid began arriving in Sri Lanka, bringing help to 500,000 people who have been driven from their homes by heavy rains and landslides that have killed at least 71. The heaviest rains in a quarter of a century have pounded Sri Lanka since last weekend, triggering huge landslides that have buried some victims in up to 15 meters of mud. The number of people missing now stands at 127. Residents clung to ropes as they battled to cross torrents of water pulsing through the streets of the flooded capital, Colombo, with some forced to take shelter in rickshaws. India has sent a military plane carrying emergency supplies to Colombo, while Japan has also rushed in aid on a commercial flight, according to the Sri Lankan Foreign Ministry. The National Rifle Association endorsed Republican Donald Trump for U.S. president, and he responded with a promise to serve the country's top gun lobby group well. Trump, his party's presumptive nominee for the November 8 presidential election, praised the NRA and took a swipe at Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton, saying she wants to abolish the U.S. Constitution's Second Amendment, which guarantees the right to bear arms. The billionaire businessman has opposed gun-free zones and promised to protect Americans' rights to self-defense.
To get the endorsement, believe me, is a fantastic honor. And I just said to Wayne and I just said to Chris, I will not let you down. Remember that. I will not let you down. They walked in, no guns on the other side. They had the guns, and they killed 14 people, many wounded, many in the hospital to this day, but they wounded many. But they killed 14 of their co-workers, and the co-workers thought they were friends. So there's something going on. Now, I tell you again, same story. If we had guns on the other side, it wouldn't have been that way. I would have, boom. If we had guns on the other side, it wouldn't have been that way. Hillary wants to disarm vulnerable Americans in high-crime neighborhoods. Whether it's a young single mom in Florida or a grandmother in Ohio, Hillary wants them to be defenseless, wants to take away any chance they have of survival. And by the way, you have men and you have women sitting in an apartment, and outside is tremendous crime of all kinds, and they need to be protected. And you know the only way they're going to be able to protect themselves. And if you take that gun away from them, it's going to be a very unfair situation. And that's why we're going to call her Heartless Hillary. We can do without that. Somehow I like crooked Hillary better. I think Bernie should run as an independent, okay? Let him run. I do. I would love him to run as an independent. Then it would be the three of us on stage. I love that. The Second Amendment is on the ballot in November. The only way to save our Second Amendment is to vote for a person that you all know named Donald Trump, okay? I will tell you. I will never let you down. I will protect our Second Amendment.
Tapping into the mind of filmmaker Tim Burton just got easier with the opening of the bar Beetle House, New York City in Lower Manhattan. Co-owners and childhood friends Zach Neal and Brian Ling said nothing inspired the idea for the establishment, which they opened in roughly 3 weeks, but their love for Burton. Since opening in late April, the pair quickly learned Burton fans are plentiful. Reservations for dinner are almost completely booked for the summer, but they do keep one walk-in table available and the bar is always open. The menu items pay tribute to Burton, with some of the popular drinks being Beetle's Juice and This is Halloween. Edward Burger Hands is among the top-selling eats. At this point, they have not heard from Burton directly, but did from one of his representatives. Beetle House, New York City is currently in previews with an official grand opening scheduled for either June or July. Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling delighted fans by signing autographs and taking selfies on the red carpet for the UK premiere of their action comedy, The Nice Guys. The buddy movie, which is written and directed by Lethal Weapon maker Shane Black, follows enforcer for hire Jackson and Crowe, Healy private detective Holland March, who work together to solve why a girl named Amelia has gone missing and major names in the porn industry are dying in mysterious circumstances. Take a look.
It's my husband. He's gone missing.
Missing?
I'm terribly worried. It's just Fred's never been gone this long before.
How long has he been missing?
Since the funeral.
Well, I can start right away. You're a private investigator? My profession is very complicated, okay? It's nuanced. That's a lot of blood.
Well, it's a very dense story. I mean, underneath all the absurdity and things that go on, you know, there's still a very good detective's tale to be told, you know. So, yeah, I mean, it's a really good way to spend a couple of hours, as you've just pointed out. Oh, that's the point. Yeah, I think it's a great time. You know, it really suits the story. You know, Los Angeles itself had started to degrade a little bit. There wasn't the flashy Hollywood of times past. You know, Hollywood Boulevard actually was all porn theaters and prostitutes. You know, so it's the perfect setting for two characters like the ones Brian and I played.
Yeah, it was great fun. This film, you know, I grew up on Shane Black movies, so it was like a coming home movie, a coming home moment. You know, to read his dialogue and to get to be in one of his films.
You beat people up and charge money?
Sad, isn't it?
How much would you charge to beat up my friend Janet?
What? How much you got?
$30.
That's good. This conversation is over.
The mob is trying to spread its operation to Los Angeles. Somehow, my daughter Amelia is involved. Please find her.
This is a high-profile case.
Made the newspapers.
Where is Amelia?
What the hell's going on?
Oh, you know, there's a guy coming to kill us. That kind of crap. Hey, can you behave like a professional?
I'm sorry.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our headlines. Saudi ambassador to Lebanon, Ali Awad Asidi, calls on Lebanese leaders to engage in dialogue and elect a president as quickly as possible, reiterating the kingdom's support for the country. Lebanon prepares for its third round of municipal elections in the south and Nabatieh governorates, where a heated battle is expected. And Egypt Air sent automated messages signaling smoke on board before plunging into the Mediterranean, according to the French Aviation Safety Agency, while search teams continue to look for more wreckage. Your Saturday headlines live on Future Television. I'm Yumna Naufal signing off. Have a good weekend.
هادئة جدا.